question. These rhymes get straight out of heaven. It's a new generation takeover. They trying to block the blessing.
And we're conscious. Today we're going to be doing a reaction video on the NBC News. They released a video about what you call aliens and alien structures. Basically, they're saying that aliens built massive structures around stars. And honestly, in this day and age, I'm not surprised because everything's true. But we just gonna be reacting to this, see what they gotta be saying about it. And yeah, I'm just spreading the message around because honestly, what's going on in this world today is crazy. But I'm just here to be a watcher of it, I guess.
They've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here, because the basic idea was this: superior intelligent life might build big structures around their home stars or planets as a way to harness or reuse that energy. A 1960s physicist.
What I'm not okay with is why they just talking about it like it's normal. Last time I checked, they confirmed aliens like maybe a couple months ago, if I'm not wrong. They talking about it like they've been knew about it, like. So we just got aliens creating big ass fucking fears around stars. Yeah, I guess that's the news.
Physicists who came up with this idea, Freeman Dyson, argued that if these structures existed, there'd be so much energy that human scientists on Earth could probably spot it because it would emit a lot of infrared radiation. So in this new study, researchers say they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared, those are their words, but couldn't find an obvious explanation for why these sources are glowing so much, which could mean they're Dyson spheres or something else entirely. And what I'm saying is, what? Space is so crazy. I wish I understood it better. So let's talk to a scientist to help wrap our heads around this.
It's funny how they just, it's like a joke to them. This shit is the bed. So what they saying is, if these structures were to exist, it will be glowing in the infrared and we'll be able to see it, because of the power around the sun that they're harnessing, or the star that they're harnessing. Then, a couple seconds later, they said, researchers found objects that's glowing in the infrared. Maybe I'm just a crazy man on YouTube.
I'm joined now by Professor Jana Levin. She is an astrophysicist and author of the book Black Hole Survival Guide, as well as the Claire Tow Professor.
How the hell you survive a black hole? How the hell you survive a black hole? What the hell you mean? What? And people texting me now. What? Last time I checked, when you go into a black hole, you don't come out. So how can you survive that? If you're not supposed to come out, you can't come out of a black hole, right? Maybe I'm just a crazy man on YouTube.
Of physics and astronomy at Barnard College of Columbia University. Professor, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I tried to explain it a little bit. That was my very dirty version. I was going to be like, yeah, but I'm an English major who just had Google. You have a PhD in physics from MIT. So how do you explain Dyson spheres?
I think there was an excellent explanation. If you look at where we are relative to the sun, we're very far away. We're the 3rd planet in. And imagine the light that we try to collect, let's say, with solar panels on people's homes or on any roofs to collect that energy. Imagine if you got really close and you caught everything the sun was emitting. It's just a tremendous amount of power. And so Freeman Dyson was thinking about this. Actually, he was originally inspired by sci-fi, written by Olaf Stapleton like decades earlier. And his idea wasn't so much a solid sphere. It was really like satellites in orbit, a network of things that would be orbiting and would essentially, what we would now say, have solar panels and are collecting that energy.
So what do you make of this study, just generally speaking, I guess? Do you think it's possible?
So it's just aliens collecting solar energy? For what purpose?
That these are the elusive Dyson sphere?
So I think it's very unlikely, but I'm open. We have to be open as scientists. If we think we know the answer before we go and observe, then we're already defeated. I think it's terribly unlikely, but it's extremely exciting and interesting to think about. And it's fun to think about. What's probably going to happen is we're going to look at this infrared signature that you mentioned, and we're going to find out that there's a natural cause. So a lot of things emit heat in the infrared. You know, infrared goggles allow us to see human bodies and the heat of human bodies. And it's not that dissimilar that when we look in the infrared, we see things emitting heat. So the idea was if we had this very technologically advanced civilization, like thousands of years beyond where we are right now, and they could build such a thing and it was collecting all this energy, it would collect also some heat and would have to cool off, and we would see that in the infrared. But there are other natural possibilities that could explain.
What do you think those possibly could be?
Well, it could be a very young star that still has some material around it in kind of a disk, and that's how planets form. Planets coalesce out of these early disks, and those can emit in the infrared. It could be that there's actually an entire galaxy in the distance behind the star, and we're seeing that galaxy, and we can't disambiguate those. Or it could be planetary collisions. I mean, there are natural explanations. But I think it's worth noting, we're looking just 1,000 light years around us. That sounds far, but it's actually really close. That's our backyard. The entire Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, and there are probably more planets in
Alexa, how many light years is the moon away?
The moon is 251,200 miles away from Earth.
Okay. We can't go back to the moon. But what she said, 3,000 light years or 3 light years is our backyard.
Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, and there are probably our backyard. The entire Milky or it could be planetary collisions. I mean, there are natural explanations. But I think it's worth noting, we're looking just 1,000 light years around us. That sounds far, but it's actually really close. That's our
1,000 light years is very close. The moon is, Alexa just said, 250 miles away, something like that. And we can't go back to the moon. But 1,000 light years away, they said, is our backyard, and it's not that far. Okay. I'm a crazy man.
Our backyard. The entire Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, and there are probably more planets in the Milky Way galaxy than there are stars. So we're talking of hundreds of billions and maybe trillions of planets out there. And I think we're in an era where we think the emergence of life is possibly inevitable elsewhere, that we're not the only example. Now, whether or not they've survived with thousands of years of industrial advancement to build a Dyson sphere is a different story.
Yeah. Do you think there is a scenario where a Dyson sphere might actually exist, or do you think this is really just the stuff of sci-fi fantasy?
I think it's feasible, unlikely. If you look at where we are since the Industrial Revolution, it's only a couple hundred years. We're in a precarious position. We have climate change. We have struggles with nuclear power, nuclear weapons that are could be destructive. It's unclear that any species that makes it that advanced could survive far enough into their own future to be able to build a Dyson sphere. But there are optimists out there who say we'll find a way.
All right, the universe is a pretty big place, right? And it'd be a shame if it was just us. Seems like
That
a
would
lot
be
of
a
waste
real
of
shame.
space. Right? All right, Professor, thank you so much for being here. We
Thank
really
you so much for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Check this out. I'm going to show.
Okay. What I wanted to say before I end this episode is how the way they talk about these fears, like they know so much about it, but they said they can't create it, or they believe that no alien civilization could have created one. But earlier in the video they said there was evidence of these Dyson spheres. So is it like they're trying to tell you that they're true, but like they don't believe it's true? What they're telling you is true? Like, I'm just not knowing what I'm getting from this.
A group of
And
researchers.
hold on, let's go back to see what the title is. What was the point of mentioning aliens in this video if there's no aliens? What was the point of mentioning the Dyson sphere, if there isn't one? Maybe there is other life out there. Maybe there's not. I'm just here to watch the video. You know what I'm saying? And spreading the knowledge to y'all. Since the news dropped it, what's the point? I can react to it, right? Who cares? And that's where I'm going to exit it off at. So now I'm going to be exiting the basement. I love y'all. Peace and blessings to all. And y'all have a great day now. I'm out.